Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to another show of Inspirate Business, the show that's here to inspire you, to empower you, and to enlighten you. As you know, each week we have somebody that we handpick, somebody that's doing amazing work, that's making an impact in their community, in their field of excellence. And, when we choose people, we choose them with a lot of discernment. We really try to find people that our viewers can resonate with, somebody that has, is doing things of the extraordinary. And we've handpicked somebody very, very special. Firstly, I have to say that the link is we have a number one fan, a number one Hilaal TV fan, a number one Inspirate business fan, a lady, Gori Swaleh, who I have never met, but has always motivated me to carry on doing what we're doing on Hilaal TV. And Gori's daughter happens to be that she suggested we interview. Welcome to the Inspirate Business Show, Aseema Kazi. Welcome.
Assalamu alaikum, Yusuf. Thank you for having me.
Yes, now Aseema, you are doing amazing work, right?
Oh, thanks.
I mean, just watching you and looking at your profile. Aside from now, very recently writing a book, you are an owner of restaurants. You are an image and lifestyle specialist. You have clothing brands. So it's quite an array of stuff that you're doing, and quite a champion for women in business. And I guess that's also a passion of yours.
Yes,
right?
yes.
So let's understand how, and we'll speak a lot about all these businesses. How did it all start, and where did all this rearing happen from?
I think, Yusuf, first and foremost, before that, I like to say that I'm a mother, I'm a wife, I'm a daughter, I'm a sister, I'm a best friend, and then comes the businesswoman and the author. So I think when you have that balance, you can do so much more. So yeah, I'm a CEO of a multitude of companies, and like you said, ranging from all facets. So I have an image consulting business. I have 3 clothing brands, restaurants. I have a few divisions within my restaurant business. So my restaurant is called Baluchi, and we have different divisions to that. We have Baluchi Fit, we have Baluchi Culinary Designing as well, and we have something very exciting coming up very, very soon within the Baluchi division. I have an NGO as well, so I'm a busy woman.
So we'll talk a lot about all the stuff that you're doing, and we've got a lot of time to talk about that. But I want to get to Aseema growing up.
Yeah.
Okay, where did this all start from? You a Durban girl, right?
I'm as Durban as you can get.
And as Durban as you can get because you Chatsworth, right?
Yes, I'm as gangster as you can get. I come from gangster's paradise. Right. But I think the most important thing is that you should never lose your humility and never forget where you come from. We've come from humble beginnings. I lived a comfortable lifestyle, but I think as an adult, you realize how hard your parents worked. Because when you have to pay the bills and you have kids of your own, you realize how hard your parents worked to bring you up and what they sacrificed to give you a better life. And, alhamdulillah, I'm being the youngest, very, very spoiled. But I think they've
How many siblings are you?
I have 2 siblings older than me. Sisters, yes. Okay, so I don't have brothers, but I have lots of brothers. And I think the one thing that my parents have always taught me is to be grounded, and know where you come from. Never lose the humility, because name and fame and wealth, you can have it today and you can lose it tomorrow. But people remember you for the person that you are and the impact that you've made on their lives. So for me, that's very important. So yeah, I'm a Durban girl. I'm in Johannesburg for 19 years.
So you schooled in Chatsworth?
Yes. So I moved I moved to
And you
Johannesburg.
matriculated in
Yes, so I studied there as well, and then
so
I
what
worked
did you study?
business management.
Okay, so
And
you finished school in Chatsworth,
and my tertiary education.
and then you through which university did you?
I was at ML Sultan at that time. It was
Okay.
called, I think
Yes,
it's
yes.
called DUT now.
Yeah, excellent. I mean,
Yes.
it's very well known for its.
My
sticky-
dad went there. My dad is 80 years old, and he
Okay.
went there. So it was really nice. Yeah, so I completed my tertiary education, and that's when I moved up to Johannesburg.
Okay.
And, you know, moving up to Johannesburg, I was really, really young. I'm 40 years old, so 19.
And you moved up prior to getting married?
Yes, I'm married for 7 years.
Okay.
Yes, so I moved up, you know, this little girl in the big bad world. And I, you know, I've always had a personality of a go-getter from the time I was little. You know, I knew what I wanted, and I always wanted to be successful. I always wanted to climb that corporate ladder. And yeah, I moved to Joburg in my early 20s, really young, and I'll never forget my first interview. My first interview was in Jellicoe Street in Rosebank. And at that time, there was no GPS. You had to have a map book. I had the map book open the night before. I had to draw and write, you know, directions, remember the points and all of that. I got terribly lost. I didn't get the job. I went for the interview. I didn't get the job. And, you know, you have all these doors closing on you. But I think the important thing is to never give up. And I actually started off my career in the motor industry.
Wow. This is a woman in the motor industry.
Yes. And remember, I started my career in the motor industry in around 2004. And at that time, it was a very male-dominated industry. And I was a really young girl in a male-dominated industry.
And specifically, what were you doing?
In terms of brands?
Yeah, who were you?
So I started off with the General Motors Group. I started off with a man who was a second father to me, you know, marhum Mr. Ibrahim Asmal. Know him as Chris Asmal. And, you know, he was the person, I'll never forget him, because he was someone that, you know, being a young Muslim girl, he always wanted me in the forefront. You know, he wanted me to go places. He helped me grow. And I think the motor industry really groomed the person I am today. Because remember, I had to swim with the big fish. Being a male-dominated industry, to have your voice heard, you had to talk a bit louder. You had to be a bit stronger. You had to be there and, you know, speak your mind, but no one took you seriously because who are you? You're a young girl. But, you know, over time, so I started off, and my last decade, I think about 13 years, I spent at VW South Africa in the government division. And I think it was then that I learned how to close these big deals. And
So were you in sales?
I was in sales. I started off in the motor industry in customer service. I became a regional manager. So I worked for various brands. So I worked for the General Motors Group. I worked for Hyundai. So it gave me real exposure. I also worked for the Chinese brands. And then I ended off with the German brand, with VW South Africa and Audi South Africa. And I think my time in the motor industry really groomed me to be the person I am today. And I've always had the entrepreneurial blood in me. I've always wanted to be a businesswoman. And I often call myself a hustler. I don't call myself a businesswoman or a serial entrepreneur, because I'm always on the lookout for new business opportunities. And I think working in the motor industry really groomed me for that, because it was such a multifaceted industry where you're dealing with all types of people. I was a national dealer development manager where I would develop corporate identities and brands. And my last one was in government. So, you know, I went through it all, and I loved it. I mean, I'm an absolute petrol head. You put me on the racetrack, I'm the happiest. So food and cars make me the happiest. So I'm so glad I got into the both. So yeah, the motor industry was where I actually started my career and developing who I am. So it was very, very exciting. And yeah, it was a stepping stone for my success, I would say.
Excellent. I mean, what a journey. And we've just come to the end of the segment. But the question I want to ask you is, you come across as such a confident person, and you said a lot of the industry, the motor industry, has made you that. Were you always like this growing up? or were you more the shy type?
Okay.
We'll get to that answer immediately after the break. Welcome back to Inspirate Business, and we have looking extremely radiant, exuding real positivity, a real breath of fresh air, I must say, on our red hot couch, sponsored by Aza Collective in Kramerville. We have none other than Aseema Kazi, and listen, she is some entrepreneur. How you do all of it, we'll get to understand. Written a book and restaurateur and image consultant, and you're talking about being in this male-dominated motor car industry, really working in sales, customer service, and I guess that's where this confidence comes in, as you say. But growing up, were you always like this? Or did you always have this passion and this, uh, that vision to be successful?
So, Yusuf, I've always been a confident person.
Okay.
I've always been a confident person. And I think one of the contributing factors to that is having a very supportive family structure. And being a parent myself, I realized that, my family, my parents, my siblings, my extended family have always been positive. They've always told me the best of things. My dad, up until now, he sends me messages telling me how proud he is of me and how much he loves me. And I think that's so important. Having that
He's 80 years old.
My dad just turned 80 in May. My mom's 77, and they've just relocated to Johannesburg. So I'm actually the happiest person alive.
What did your dad do growing up?
So my dad was always in sales.
Okay.
My dad was always in sales. And I grew up in a very liberal family. And my parents, obviously, they've always instilled Islamic values in us. But at the same time, they let us grow. They let us grow, they let us flourish, and they let us be. So my family has been absolutely supportive ever since I was a child. And that's so important because I do a lot of talks, and we'll speak about my book, where it's a lot about self-development. And it's so important that as a child, you motivate your child and you constantly tell your child how amazing they are. And these are some of the factors that help you become a confident individual. And I've always been an extrovert. I love talking. I've been the one that would always win the speech contest at school because I would love talking, and I still do. So growing up as a child, I had that supportive family that always, were very positive. But having said that, you then become an adult and you're faced with a big bad world. And the world is actually not so forgiving. They actually have had doors closed on me. It's a funny story, if I may share it.
Yes.
When I I came to the end of my motor industry career, and how I did that was I spent a lot of time. I got married, and I always told my husband that I want to own my own business. And then I decided to study to become an image consultant. That was my first business that I started in 2016. And I will never forget the day when I started the company, I opened up a business, and I spoke to the guy that did my branding and developing my website. And I had a vision, as always. I had a plan. I knew what I wanted, and I shared it with him. He laughed at me, and his words was, "It's nice to dream big. You're not going to get there." And those words resonated with me and stayed with me. So coming from a background where everyone's so supportive, also, remember, you have a high-flying career. No one could understand why I would leave that and become an image consultant. Why would I leave a career that's paying well? You're doing well, and this is the thing. I mean, society has this misconception that if you have a good job, stay in it.
Yes.
People couldn't understand
what is comfort zone.
Stay in your comfort zone, and people couldn't understand. What is an image consultant? Why are you going to do that? And that's why it's so important never to lose focus of what you want. And I've always been a bit of a rebel. I don't really listen to people. I take advice, but I make up my own mind. And I knew what my vision was. And I started off my business as an image consultant, the Style Factor. And before you know it, I was styling A-list celebrities. And the business grew to unimaginable heights. So it's all about not losing the focus. And yes, coming back to your question, I was always a confident person, but along the way, you do face disappointments. You do face doors closing on you. You do face rejection. It's important how you take it, how you translate it. Do you translate it as a failure where you sit in a corner and cry, or you translate it where I'm going to do better? I'm going to actually prove a point to that person that I'm going to do better. I'm going to strive to become the best version of myself. So
that's really powerful. I mean, the best way to silence critiques and to silence disappointment is just to, through your actions and your successes.
Absolutely.
That's the best way. And everyone forgets about it then,
absolutely. Right? And we live in such a judgmental world and society, unfortunately, that a lot of people, but they feel, a lot of people with the negativity that they're surrounded by, it just puts them into a corner. And I think one of the things that I do is public speaking, and a lot for women empowerment, because these women come from backgrounds where they're subservient wives. They are unable to grow wherever they are. And society is there to judge you. Society is there to put you down. So it's so important never to dim your light. To always know what you want. I mean, and do it in a respectful way. I'm a wife. And there's something my mom always taught me. And she said, you can be the CEO of the biggest company. You can be the president of a country. But when you walk through that door, you're someone's wife and you behave like that. And I think that's very important, where you should always have the respect. My husband wears the pants in the house, believe it or not. A lot of people don't believe that, but he does. And I respect that, and he respects me, and we make joint decisions together. So it's not about you being above me or I'm being below you. But I think if you know your place, you have a better relationship.
I mean, that's very, very powerful, especially when it comes to relationships, and also about you talking about your self-worth.
Yes.
Because a lot of time there's this dependency syndrome.
Yes.
In a relationship.
Yes.
I am because of the other person.
Absolutely.
And I think that's where the problems come in.
Yes.
Whereas what you're saying is that you independent, yet codependent.
Yes.
So there's respect for each other's strengths, and then combined,
you're a powerhouse.
You're a powerhouse.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, but to get there, it must have been, was it again, always ingrained in you?
No. So, I mean, obviously, like most people, I've been through major disappointments in my life, major heartbreaks, very, very badly failed relationships. And I think coming out of it, you become a better person. And also at that point, like everyone that goes through things, you ask, why me? But it just, you now want to thank that person because they've taught you lessons and they've made you stronger people. And my book is called The Secret to Finding Love. And, it's a culmination of my own personal journey and experiences in life that has made me the person I am. And it focuses about knowing your worth. And I believe that if you value yourself and you have self-respect, the type of person that you invite into your life will be of a similar, would be like you, So if you have low self-esteem, you become vulnerable. So the person that you invite into your life is a toxic person. So that's so important, that is so important. When you find your partner, you've got to find someone who's like-minded. No two people are the same. So don't get me wrong. I mean, I often say you're bringing two people from completely different backgrounds and putting them together. It's a nightmare. But I believe that your values should be the same. Your ethos should be the same, because that's the foundation of life. Like a house, if you're building a house, if your foundation is solid, the structure is going to be right. So if you share the same value system, everything else is fine. If you're an untidy person, that's okay. But if you share the same values, you have respect for each other. And, Alhamdulillah, I'm blessed with an amazing husband, and I'm lucky because he lets me be. He lets me be, and I think respect is very important. Being a Muslim woman, I often get asked the question, which actually annoys me when people ask me, does your husband allow you to do that? And I'm like, hold on. That word should not be used in a relationship. It shouldn't be allowing, it should be respect. I know my place as a woman. I know my place as a mother, as a wife. So I know my boundaries, So my husband does not restrict me. He lets me be. because we have that trust, we have that mutual understanding, and that's so important. It doesn't happen overnight. It's a work in progress. Any relationship is a work in progress.
But very important also for your business success, because
Absolutely.
if you don't have that
Yes.
in sync,
Yes.
that can really break you, right?
Yes.
If you're coming home and you've been criticized,
Yes.
or you've been inhibited, and whatever, there's a lot of challenges people go through in relationships. That has an impact. But something very powerful that you said as well, and just before we go to the break, talking about having your self-worth, and then that's how you attract the right person. I learned something from my own mentor and somebody that I used to read Taraweeh with regularly, and he was saying this concept of love. The Western world has taught you this romantic love is such a misnomer.
Yeah.
Because what you're saying is when you get connected with who you are, your self-worth, what are you then doing is you actually connecting with Allah.
Absolutely.
And when you connect with Allah, Allah will then give you, present you with the right person.
Of course.
And that's where this union becomes so beautiful, because, but it starts with exactly the title of your book.
Yeah.
Which is?
The Secret to Finding Love.
Yes. And we'll talk about that immediately after the break. Welcome back to Inspirate Business, where we inspire you, we empower you, and we enlighten you. And we are being inspired by Aseema Kazi. Wow. Such a breath of fresh air. Really, I think for many viewers watching, many young ladies watching, thinking of my daughters,
yes.
you are such a, there's such an, you exude this confidence, right? And it's very natural.
Yes.
Right? And you're saying it's because of that beautiful nurturing that you got from your parents.
It starts off there.
Yes, and always supporting you, allowing you to flourish.
Yes.
But also giving you those traditional values. You are a mother. You constantly say that you are a daughter,
a wife,
and just having that self-worth. Now, that has led you to write a book, and I think it's for every young, any person actually, I think it would be amazing to just, I want to read that book. It is, the title is The Secret
to Finding Love.
Finding Love. So tell us a little bit about the book.
Okay, so I co-authored the book with a very good friend of mine and business partner, Zarif Minty.
Okay.
So the book is called The Secret to Finding Love, Yusuf. And the book focuses on self-worth, self-development. So it's about knowing your worth and finding yourself, as we mentioned earlier, before even looking for a relationship or getting married, I think you need to know who you are. You need to be in the best place in your life. And I don't mean financially, I mean emotionally. So you need to have a high self-esteem. You need to know that, I love myself. I deserve this. I don't deserve anything less than this. The book also focuses on, so, you can, if you're looking for love, if you're in an existing relationship, it also it teaches you on how to identify toxic relationships. Many people, unfortunately, they're in that rut, they're in toxic relationships, and it's so normal to them that they actually don't realize that they can get out of it. And the book, speaks about how to identify you in a toxic relationship, how to cope with these things. So it's a lot about self-development and knowing who you are, being the best version of yourself first before inviting another person into your life. And also, Yusuf, just to add to that, I wrote the book, it's about, I think 2 or 3 years ago.
Right.
I had to write the book when I'm in a certain point in my life. There was no point of me, the example I use, you can't go to a dentist with rotten teeth. You'll be like, okay, there's something wrong here. So I had to write the book when I was in the best space in my life, so that if someone comes to me, my life is not in shambles. It's not falling apart. There's challenges like anyone's life, but if I'm going to give you advice, my life needs to be in order. You know, it's so important.
Where do you get the book?
So it's available on Take-A-Lot, and it's available at selected exclusive bookstores.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
We're very excited about it. It's been endorsed by the likes of Akon. Yeah. So we've had the Katan sisters, Mona Katan, endorse the book. So yeah, we're very excited. We have something coming up in the pipeline, literally in 2 weeks' time, as a follow-up to the book. So yeah, watch this space. Maybe I'll be on this platform talking about it.
Yes.
I need to zip my lips for now. But yeah,
No,
something very exciting, and it's
thing.
also something that lacks in the Muslim community. So
no, great. You know what I pick up, and this is something that I'm an avid a student of, is that when you are in a state of positivity, in the state of that your mind and your emotions, your body is in that state of abundance, then you attract more.
Absolutely.
And I think you are living proof of these principles. And I guess that's probably why you are involved in all of these different projects.
Yes.
So the other aspect of what you do is you run a very successful restaurant.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about that. What is the name of the restaurant?
So that's my third child.
Okay.
Yeah, it's called Baluchi.
Baluchi, yeah.
Something that I'm very passionate about. Those that have been to Baluchi, it's the exact same color as this.
Okay.
So I live the brand, I eat the brand, and I breathe the brand.
Okay, so there's the image consultant coming in.
That's the image consultant with the Baluchi. So yes, Baluchi is my brand.
Okay.
Baluchi started off in 2019.
Okay, so just prior to COVID.
Yes, so end September 2019, just to put it in perspective, end September 2019, we bought Baluchi. I had a baby in December, and COVID came in February.
Okay, so it was an existing brand?
No.
Okay.
So it's my brand.
Okay.
I created the brand from scratch. Baluchi is the name that I created, and a lot of people that come to my restaurant, the first question they ask me, why Baluchi? So people think it's Baluchistan. Right. There's an area in Pakistan, there's Baluchistan. People think it's Italian. So very simple. I wanted a name that was unique. My vision and my plans for the Baluchi brand is massive. I didn't want it to sound like a fly-by-night Indian restaurant. I wanted a world-class establishment. And alhamdulillah, you know, it's grown from strength to strength.
Where is it?
It's in Santon, in Ilovo in Santon. And the brand...
So just close to the...
It's on Colette Drive. So it's if you're coming from Colette Drive, the address is number 1 Colette Drive. If you're coming...
on that corner where you're coming up from the Wanderers.
That's right.
And you're coming onto Oxford.
It's on the corner, and you don't miss it. It's green, and you see it.
Okay.
So yeah, so you know, I think in Johannesburg there was a gap.
And your speciality?
So it's predominantly Indian cuisine.
Okay.
But it's also fusion. So we do a lot of my inspiration. I draw my inspiration from a lot of the restaurants in Dubai, because whenever I travel, it's about an experience. So when you come to a place, you don't want to only eat. You want to have an experience. And yes, the food needs to be remarkable, but you also want to feel good. You want to have a world-class experience. And I'd love for you to come over to my restaurant to experience this.
Encourage everyone to come and
experience
this.
So, you know, starting off from mocktails, we have a mixologist. We don't have a barman. We have a mixologist who goes on to regular training. We have signature mocktails that are made up only for Baluchi. And we have trained guys that come in and train my guys. So starting from the drinks to our menu is a combination of Middle Eastern food. We have Indian food, we have Pakistani food, we have Lebanese food. So it's you know what, it's a combination. Our speciality is our Ran biryani, which I love. It's an entire leg of lamb. And I can proudly say that there's nowhere in South Africa that we have that. We have it in Makkah, India.
Yeah, that's very Middle Eastern.
Yes. So
infused.
It's served, it's this big. It's an entire leg of lamb that's served on a platter.
Now you're making me really hungry.
Absolutely amazing. And I'm not sure if you're familiar with nihari.
No, I'm not.
So nihari is a traditional Pakistani dish. So just to give you a quick insight, it was a dish made for breakfast. So the wives would make it for their husbands for breakfast. They would cook it the entire night, and they would cover it and, you know, dig it in the ground with coal. And then the next morning, this dish would be ready for breakfast. And we do it the traditional way, okay, not in the ground, but we slow cook it for 8 hours. So those who know the
Your
dish.
chefs are international chefs? Or?
No, my chefs are local,
Okay.
but they trained, and I think their best trainer is me. So I'm not a trained chef, but I love cooking. So my passion, it started...
your traditional values coming from Chatsworth,
absolutely,
right? Mom teaching you
but let me tell
kitchen.
you, a lot comes from my husband. I owe a lot to him because he's not a trained chef as well, but he cooks amazing.
Okay.
So the both of us, you know, our love language is food. So anyone that knows us knows that we show love by feeding. And before Baluchi came into existence, our house was the Baluchi. So we love entertaining and we love feeding.
And he's also actively involved in the business?
Not at all.
No.
So my husband is 43 years old. I would say he's semi-retired. He stays at home and plays with his children.
Okay.
So,
Good.
so he has his own businesses.
Right.
Yeah, he's into sanitary wear and motor spares.
Mm-hmm.
I think you've got to have a special type of personality to run a restaurant. And he's an introvert. And he's not Hitler.
This is where you...
He's not Hitler. I am. So it takes a special personality. So he's very soft, very, very soft. And everyone takes advantage of him and no one takes advantage of me. So yeah, so he loves cooking. And especially I think the international dishes came from him. I learned a lot through him, through my in-laws. I have amazing in-laws who have taught me all these interesting dishes. And I think my passion for cooking has translated into this. And you've got to be passionate in what you do. And I love, I'm sure you see, I get excited when I talk about Baluchi. I love, Baluchi is my happy place. And, you know, owning a restaurant, Yusuf, is no joke.
And you there every day?
So that's where I was getting to, you know. The business, we were in the South. We moved to Sandton 6 months ago. And also coming into a relationship. So you have to have a supportive partner because treating it as a new business, even though it's been in existence, it's in a new area, so it's a new business. And I had to sit down and have this discussion with my husband to say, listen, the first 6 months is going to take a lot out of me because I need to build the business and the hours are going to be late. And, you know, there are days I get home at 11, 12, 1, and it's a sacrifice. But alhamdulillah, you know, I've now found my feet. So I have...
So you open 7 days a week?
We open from Tuesday to Sunday from 10 a.m. So Mondays are our rest days, so 10 a.m. to 10 p.m.
Okay.
6 days a week. And
Sundays as well.
Sundays, yeah. So weekends are our busiest days. I mean, we fully booked on weekends. I have my die-hard supporters and I'm so grateful. And, you know, even touching on that, in the 6 months, the friendships that I've formed, my customers, I mean, I actually get emotional when I think about it.
It's a wide array of, I mean, being in that area, you're not only attracting, obviously, Muslim patrons.
So I have a high Muslim clientele, but also it's a mixed crowd. It's a mixed crowd.
People want to experience.
Yes, being in that area.
All right. Okay. We've come to the end of this, and it was like on this very high note, my mouth is watering. I can't wait to experience these dishes. After the break, let's discuss further the journey for Aseema Kazi. Welcome back to Inspirate Business, and we've been inspired with the exuberance, the passion, I hope you picked it up as well, of this young lady, Aseema Kazi, doing amazing work, meaning growing up in Chatsworth, right, as she called it, gangster's paradise. Then gets into the hardcore man's world of motor car industry. She's got this passion for fast cars and for all of that as well. Always been confident, rearing by her mom and her dad that has given her traditional values, but has also allowed her to flourish in this world. One of 3 siblings, all girls, and just this positivity that you, this energy that you exude is infectious, honestly. It's inspired me, right? And I hope it's inspiring you. Does image consulting, and then works with A-list personalities, and then pivots to restaurant business. Has written a book. And I encourage you to go and get the book, The Secret
to Finding Love.
Finding Love. It's on Amazon.
It's on Take a Lot and
it's
Exclusive
at
Books.
Exclusive Books.
Yes.
We talked about the restaurant, and I want to go to the restaurant in Santon on the corner of Corlett and Oxford Road in that area. For those that are familiar, it's quite a popular area now, and I'm dying to go and
It's the
experience.
place to be. It's the place to be.
But there's also something else, and I mean, this is what we're going to finish off with. You also are quite passionate about philanthropic work, right? You're doing a lot, I think, in the time of COVID. You have your own foundation.
Yes. So, Yusuf, I think this is one of the things that's nearest and dearest to my heart.
Okay.
I have an NGO that was co-founded by my best friend and I. It's called Help Foundation. And initially, this foundation was self-funded. We started off around COVID because, there were so many people in need. And alhamdulillah, it's also grown to such major heights. During COVID, for example, and the KZN relief projects, we were able to supply 22 tons of supplies to KZN. During the water shortages, we supplied I think it was over 12,000 liters of water, 20,000 liters of water. And, these are things that makes me the happiest. No amount of business deals that I can close gives me that inner contentment and satisfaction that I have with my NGO. And, we're constantly involved in all sorts of projects. We have an Adopt an Orphanage, and we're currently working on building a learning center in an area because, so in an orphanage, I mean, the saddest thing is to see babies, to see 2-month-old babies, 3-month-old babies abandoned. There's an area in Fetus that we now building a learning center. You have 12-year-olds that are pregnant only because they look at these men as father figures who take advantage. So we're trying to build a safe space for them, a place where they are able to go and learn, do their homework. In the orphanages as well, we constantly do food drives. And the saddest thing of having an NGO is that you can never feed everyone. You can never help everyone. And for me, that is the worst thing ever. So when we do food drives, the food is finished and there are still hungry mouths there and hungry stomachs. And it's heartbreaking. I've also learned you can't reach out to everyone, but in a small way, you can make a difference. So that's something I'm really passionate about and very near and dear to me. So yeah, we Adopt an Orphanage, adopt a school, and we're building a learning center at the moment.
When you say adopt a school, how would that work?
So what happens is we take over the school. Right. We do feeding projects. Remember, a lot of these children come to school, they haven't had a meal. They come hungry to school. So we provide lunch for these children. And then also what we do is like stationery. They come barefoot to school. So
these are schools all around the country?
So I do a lot of work in Durban, in Chatsworth. I do a lot of work because I believe that's my hometown. I mean, if I can't help there, I start off there. So I have an operational on the ground team in Chatsworth and in Westville that do a lot of Help Foundation work. And then we do a lot of areas in Johannesburg. So at the moment, we've done Johannesburg and Durban. So when we say adopt a school or adopt an orphanage, we take care of most of their needs to the best way we can. And and just try and constantly help where we can. But during COVID, we were involved in a lot of projects with Syria, sending food parcels to them, and also medical aids, meaning that, whatever they were short of. And I mean, I think during the time of COVID, wherever you could help, you help. And it started off there, and it, alhamdulillah, just grew and grew, and that's where we are at the moment. And we have lots of plans for the future, Allah willing, to really, really establish a footprint. And I think with people knowing that it was a self-funded thing, and people knowing my friend and I think it also instills a level of confidence and trust to put in your money, or because you can see where it's being used.
And what's that? If somebody wants to assist,
so they can get through. They can get through to Help Foundation. They can get hold of us. It's just Help Foundation.
Your website?
We don't have a website at the moment. We have an Instagram page, a Facebook page. They can get in touch with me via Instagram.
Also on social media.
On social media.
What are your
handles? It's Aseema_Kazi.
Okay.
And then they can get in touch with me. Right? Kazi, yeah. And whatever, if they want to assist, they're more than welcome. And something I'm very, very
So, Aseema,
passionate
look, we've
about.
come in toward the end of the show. If some parting words, right? I hope the viewers have been as inspired as I am. But if you were to leave some key messages, key tools for your success,
Yeah.
to get you to where you are, you're still, I mean, fairly young, and yet
I would like to believe that.
We never ask a woman her age. So
I just turned
not,
40,
okay,
and I'm absolutely proud of that.
okay,
I turned
right.
40 in December.
Best you said it and not
No,
I
no, no.
asked you.
You know
Yeah.
what? I think I'm in the best space in my life. I'm
Great.
40, and I'm very, very, very happy
Right.
to be
So
40.
as this young 40-year-old, a very exuberant 40-year-old, very passionate 40-year-old, um, messages for youngsters watching.
Yeah.
Or even some of the elderly, maybe somebody, there's people have gone through so much
Yes.
of challenges,
Absolutely.
right? COVID came and affected people's businesses,
Yes.
affected their mental health.
Yes.
What are some of those pearls of wisdom that you can share?
I think the most important thing, Yusuf, would be to remain positive and stay focused and never lose sight of your dream, no matter how big or small.
Mm.
I mean, for women, the advice I always give is always to have financial freedom, no matter how small it is. Even if it's something small, have that bit of independence. It takes you a long way. And something, you would never find me sitting around waiting for the next best thing to happen. I would work really hard and turn my dreams into a reality. So it's so important to not lose focus of what your dreams are, stay positive, and always dream big. I mean, nothing is impossible. So that's the most important thing. Also, surround yourself with positivity and ditch that negativity. When people are negative, people will always be negative. Don't take it to heart. Don't take it seriously. Stay in your own lane, focus on yourself, stop worrying about other people, and strive to be the best version of yourself.
As you said, that guy that said to you, but you never
To
going to
dream big.
achieve your dreams.
Yes,
Huh?
yes.
And
I actually
that
want
stirred
to.
you,
I
huh?
want to phone him, but my husband doesn't want me
Yeah.
to do that. So
Maybe he'll be listening.
maybe I should invite him to my
Yeah,
restaurant.
maybe he'll be listening and this spurred him on. And it's never too late. Another thing, right?
Absolutely. My
matter
mom
what
is 77,
Yes.
and she, I think just 10 years ago, qualified as a counseling psychologist.
Wow.
So it's never too late.
At the
Never
age of
too late.
67.
Yeah.
Eh?
She
Wow.
studied for a degree as a counseling psychologist.
By the way, she is my number one fan.
Yeah,
That
she
so.
is. She is. So yeah, it's never too late. It's never too late to pick up the pieces and start again. Never too late.
Wow, that's some brilliant advice. Now, as we put a crystal ball for you, if I give you the crystal ball, and we've got 2 minutes left, so I'll give you the crystal ball. And where to for Aseema Kazi on her journey of this beautiful life?
Well, a lot. There's a lot planned. Like I said, in 2 weeks, I'm launching a new business, which I'll talk about in 2 weeks' time.
Links to the book.
Links to the book.
Right.
And then I'm also launching a new division of Baluchi.
Okay.
Which I'm very excited about. So we've got Baluchi Fit. I said we've got Baluchi culinary designing.
So Fit is
it's healthy.
All right.
It's
healthy eating part. Yeah.
Healthy eating part.
Right.
And then I'm launching a new division, which I'm very, very excited about. And
related in the culinary.
Yes. So it's actually I'm launching a grill house.
Oh.
Yeah,
Okay.
Baluchi Grill House, which is absolutely fantastic. I'm so excited about it because we have our own patented brand of products. So I'm very excited about that. And inshallah, in the future, definitely expansion of the branches. I'd love to open all over the provinces. And yeah, big plans.
Inshallah, you're going to have to take one back to
Durban.
Hometown.
Absolutely.
And then I guess all our viewers in Cape Town will be dying to experience.
So that's in the pipeline. Durban, Joburg, Cape Town, there has to be a Baluchi.
Excellent. Aseema, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the Inspirate Business Show. Thanks for inspiring me personally. I've just ignited so many dreams of mine. Wanting to achieve so much as well. And the message you said is it's never too late.
Absolutely.
Right? You just carry on and always stay in that positive space, because when you're there, Allah will just bless you.
Of course.
And no matter what your challenges are,
Yes.
right? Just carry on doing what you're doing.
Tawakkal.
Allah tawakkal.
Yeah.
On that very powerful note, Allah tawakkal. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.